we called the GoPro series, which is a series of fun and informative workshops that we want to kind of talk about different topics. Last year we did work-life balance and how to navigate yourself through the workplace. And today we have three wonderful former Syracuse athletes joining us, Lauren, Cameron, and Brooke, who I've just met in the last 10 or so minutes. And I'm really excited for the conversation we're going to have today. I'll kind of give a brief introduction, but I want them to introduce themselves more. So for those of you who don't know, Cameron Lynch graduated from Syracuse in 2014 after playing football at SU, but his football career did not end there. He played for both the Rams and the Buccaneers across multiple NFL seasons from 2015 to 2018 before getting into NFL media, and then got his MBA in 2021 and now works with Visa on global content strategy. Brooke Alexander graduated from SU in 2020 after playing women's basketball. She is now the senior manager at Genuine Article Communications, which is a public relations firm. Now back in Dallas, she continues to mentor young girls in basketball training and is also a key mental health advocate for athletes and youth in the community down there. And Lauren Fitzmaurice graduated in 2021 and played women's basketball at Syracuse. Since graduating, she moved to Los Angeles to pursue filmmaking and has risen to prominence with more than 2 million followers across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and has had multiple brand partnerships with places you may have heard of: Adidas, Coach, Powerade, Amex, and Gatorade. So we've got three great guests here. I think we'll start with Cameron, and we'll go Cam, for this. Cam, kind of introduce yourself beyond the bio. Who are you, and maybe a career highlight you've had recently that you're most proud to share with the group?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Anthony. Great to connect with everyone. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Cam Lynch here, I finished playing football in 2014. I graduated a little early, but I really like to say 2015. 2015, played for the St. Louis Rams, played for the Buccaneers. And I would go to say recent career win, but one of the ones that will go up on the billboard, for me was broadcasting the Super Bowl here in Tampa in 2020-ish, I think it was, 2021, with Scott Hanson. So we were the in-game Super Bowl host, which was awesome. Scott Hanson, another Syracuse grad, after retiring from football during my football career, really wanted to get into the broadcast space. I did a show called Cam's Cam back at Syracuse. So I think that was really the pinnacle of my broadcast career, now doing some stuff for Bleacher Report. But that's my career win there.
And Brooke?
Hey, you guys. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Brooke Alexander. I played with the women's basketball team in 2020. And right now I'm a PR senior manager here in Dallas. I'm also on the board for a nonprofit for mental health. And I, like Anthony said, I mentor youth here in DFW. A recent win for me, I don't know if you guys know who Lauren Daigle is, but I love Lauren Daigle, and I got to fly out to New York and do some PR for her and meet her and her dad and her team. And that was really, really cool for me. It really blessed me. So thank you guys for having me. I'm excited for the conversation.
And has Lauren joined us? I think she is. Lauren?
It's joining now.
Oh, she's coming in? Okay. In that case, do we want to start with the first question and then kind of move, and we'll let her introduce herself when she gets here?
Perfect.
Okay. Zach?
Yeah,
Want to
so
introduce yourself? Hello.
yeah, hey everyone, my name's Zach, class of 2019, live in New York City. So first question is basically, what is your most memorable moment from your time at Syracuse? And it can be either sports related or non-sports related. Just curious to see, what that might be. And I guess any of you can start first. First come, first.
Take this one. Yeah, I can take this one. My favorite memory is by far when I got my dog. So I have a golden retriever, and she's actually outside the door begging to come in right now. But I just remember I was struggling with my mental health, and I was trying to do anything I could to lift my spirits. And so I Googled cheap golden retrievers near me. True story. I think I found a listing on Craigslist, which I didn't know that still existed. And I drove an hour and a half out to Little Falls. Didn't know that existed either. And there was a a little pen of golden retrievers, and me and my teammate Elamy opened up the pen, and all these puppies started running everywhere, and we found Zoe in a pen with a baby cow. And so we're like, what about that one? And I held on to her as we're looking for other dogs. And I just really bonded with Zoe. And she was a huge encouragement to me and my teammates. And she's still my best friend to this day. And she is my emotional support animal and really helped me with my anxiety. So that's by far the biggest blessing and favorite memory at my time at Syracuse.
I have one of them, because it's hard to pick one, but when I was a freshman, literally right when I got to Syracuse, was when we upset Clemson in football. And it was parents' weekend, so my dad was up there, and I remember we were sitting in some normal seats, but he told me that I had to go storm the field with all of the normal students. So I was like, "See you later." I walked down there, I like jumped over the thing, and yeah, I just don't remember any weekend being, and this was like when I first got there, but it was just the craziest college experience to like have the whole week long celebration of beating someone in football. So that was mine.
I thought I broke my leg after that, actually. I jumped over. Didn't land too well.
That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'll add to that. So we didn't beat Clemson, unfortunately, when I was at Syracuse, but we did beat Louisville, so that was pretty awesome. One other thing I would say, my favorite Syracuse memory, I think, would be to meet some of my best friends that were actually the groomsmen of my wedding. And so Daniel Bunham, he's a football player. He's a lawyer now at the NBPA. Michael Carter Williams, CJ Fair, Amadou Gay. And so really just making those bonds out of up on a winding ridge during our time at Syracuse was great. And they ended up becoming my best men, some of my best friends. And Andre Sims as well. We went to high school together, and he's my best friend. So I think just meeting some of the great people at Syracuse who I hold, near and dear to my life today. And so along with winning some football games as well, with Pinstripe Bowl, we beat West Virginia was really cool because when I first got to Syracuse, we weren't really winning like that. But yeah, winning big games and earning lifelong friends were my best Syracuse memories.
That's awesome. I guess we can start with we'll start with Lauren, but how did your experience as a student athlete at Syracuse University shape your professional career?
Honestly, I talk about this all the time, but everything that was like hard about being a student athlete are my strengths and everything professionally now. Like, if it's person to person, I always have like a chip on my shoulder, like I can get up earlier, I can work harder, I can do more work, I can like pay attention to more details. It just, when you are able to accomplish things over and over again, it gives you the confidence that you've won, in different aspects. So I mean, for me now, even pursuing acting, I always am working on a scene or something. And in my brain, I'm like, there's no way that anyone is working harder than I am on this scene. So it's things like that, especially being able to get up early and the large amount of workouts you could do in a week. I think I'm really happy that I'm capable of doing both of those things. It really makes my life a lot more healthy. So I think those are the ones for me.
Cam, Brooke?
I'll piggyback off that. I can attest, I have witnessed Lauren. I remember when I was first new to Syracuse and we were doing summer workouts and we had to do the mile test. And typically, like, I'm pretty good at 400-meter or a mile. I hate the mile. I hate them all, but I was pretty good at it. And I just remember being like, okay, like I'll be able to lead the team in this. And no, Lauren ran the mile in like 5 minutes. I've never seen that in my life unless it was literally a track star, an athlete. So I can definitely attest to seeing Lauren in that hardworking mode, and it's a testament to her success today. And yeah, literally everything that Lauren said is how I feel. Me and my teammates say all the time, like, we survived college like basketball, where we can do anything. And that applies to work. Like, I feel totally confident and at peace in an office job where it is not high intensity. Like, if I can accomplish what I went through and the adversity I endured, and the perseverance and the maturity that it brought out of me, um, I feel very confident in any, office job. But even in personal battles, like the grit that I have from running a mile when you have the flu, playing a game when you feel like your back is going to separate from your lower half. The things that we went through is just, like, honestly really crazy. And knowing that we went through that and we came out on top, and we're the people that we are, it really sets you up for anything in life. Any trials, like, you never know what you're going to go through. You never know what you're going to walk through in life and what life will throw at you. And I would say too, to seek out community. We had teammates around us, so we were all going through that together, and we can encourage each other as we're going through it. And then you graduate and you're on your own. And so you really need to seek out community, whether that's through a church or a group, or maybe you want to do bingo. I don't know. And so I would say definitely don't do life alone. Find community so that you have sisters or brothers who can carry you through hard times and encourage you and edify you in life.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny. I was actually talking to Andre yesterday, and I was like, "Yo, how's the spiritual, game going? What's that look? What does that look like?" And FCA was big for me when I was at Syracuse. When it came to, of course, like, handling on the field stuff, handling schoolwork, whatever that was. I feel like my spiritual journey was great because I was able to tap into something different and do it alongside some of my teammates and actually other people in athletics that I didn't really interact with a lot like that. And so what Brooke said about community is huge. And I just listed off some of the groomsmen in my wedding. Like, some of the guys are basketball players and track folks, and I really found that when I was able at Syracuse to kind of get out of my comfort zone and connect with people from different sports and different places, it was super beneficial. And so definitely doubling down on community, doing what makes you happy, whether that is going to a church or doing something different outside of your normal practice hours. And I would say thirdly, going to school at Syracuse, whether it be training in the snow, you know what I mean? I think the guys are doing it now for spring ball, but you see some of the videos and pictures where they're doing, burpees and the snow's in the background. Like, that's what we had to go through as well. And I was actually connecting with one of my military friends, and he went to Army, and he said, "There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad gear." And so that really stuck with me, because in Syracuse, like, if it's snowing, 18 inches, you're going to class. And so that's helped me through my career as time progressed. And it gets hot at Syracuse too, right? I remember running about 32 100-yard sprints via Coach Hicks during our training sessions, and it's blazing hot out there. So, for me being in Tampa now, where it gets really hot, I think just Syracuse has prepped me for that, not allowing me to, make weather an excuse for not being able to do something. So Syracuse has shaped and molded me, and I'm grateful for it.
I wanted to add one thing that you just made me think of. I'm from Seattle, so I'm from the West Coast. So I went all the way to the other side of the country to go to school, and I would tell anyone to do this a million times over, because I live on the West Coast again now. I live in LA, but my network now stretches across the whole country, and some of my best friends live in New York, but I've made all these new friends in LA, and I know my life would not be nearly what it is now if I hadn't have made a leap of faith to be outside of my comfort zone and meet people from all over the world. My teammates were from France and everywhere else. So I'm just really grateful that I made a decision to do something that wasn't as easy. It took a long time to make friends, but I'm really grateful that I did.
One thing that you often hear about in sports with athletes who are maybe transitioning away from playing the sport, either collegiate or with sometimes pro level, is kind of like feeling like a part of them is missing, and it's like really hard to stay in touch, but also find their identity beyond what they were as athletes. Because, like you guys said, it takes up so much of your time. What are some of the struggles into the working world? Brooke, you mentioned like sitting at a desk and whatnot. Like, how do you manage that part of it now that you're not, playing sports at the same level, at the same intensity that you were maybe a few years ago? That could go to any of you, whoever wants to hop in.
Yeah. I think of Serena Williams when she retired. She wrote something, I think she posted it on social media about essentially how depressed she was because she was like, who am I now? And it's exactly how I felt. And I'm not Serena Williams. um, but it exemplified exactly how I felt was just like, you start a sport when you're probably 5, 6, 7 years old. And I stopped playing when I was 24 and I wanted to keep playing. Sometimes I think about, should I go back? Should I go back to Europe and keep playing? And I think the Lord's like, no, Brooke, you got to be here and you got to pour in here. But that was really tough. I mean, it's so easy, especially as a Christian athlete, to be like, oh, my identity's in Christ. It's easy to say it, but it's so hard when that really is everything that you build your life around. When you're a child, like you don't go to birthday parties. Sometimes you miss church because you got a tournament on Sunday. Um, you miss holidays in college. You miss everything. I mean, you might get to go home for Christmas and that's it. You miss every Thanksgiving. You miss weddings, and everything about your schedule growing up is surrounded by basketball or whatever sport you play. And that was really tough because once you're done with it, you're like, what am I supposed to do with all this free time? I'm supposed to relax. How do I relax? And my time after playing was learning about my health. Even though I was in phenomenal shape from the eye, internally, I was not healthy. I wasn't eating well. I was putting a lot of stress on my body from the strenuous workouts we did in college that are really not that healthy for you as a woman, really. And now I'm learning as a 28-year-old woman how to feed my body in the right way, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, relationally, and feeding that and making sure that I'm um, doing that well so that I can be the healthiest that I can be, so I can be a good sister, be a good wife, be a good friend, be a good daughter, whatever. But that was really hard to navigate. I honestly haven't fully felt like I'm over that, but I would say in the past year to year and a half is when I started to feel a little bit better in my own skin, not playing. But it is so hard. And I would say too, like working in the office, y'all, we were joking about how bad sitting is for you. I never had as much spinal issues until I was working an office job. Like, forget all the workouts I was doing and like all the crazy things we were doing as athletes. Like, it wasn't until I was sitting for 8 straight hours that my back was killing me. And just a reminder to, you know, pour into yourself, make sure you're doing the things to make yourself healthy. Don't make your job the new obsession. Don't make your career the new thing that you're all about. Make sure that you're still making time for other people as well, and that you still are pouring into friendships and all the things. So yeah, there's so much I could say on this topic, but I'll let Cameron and Lauren speak into it too.
I could go. So I have two things. One is I think a cool silver lining to finishing playing the sport is the realization that your worth isn't how good you are at basketball. And it's a cool exploration of all the ways that you have value as a person and what else you're good at. You might be funny and be in certain friend groups you wouldn't have been in if you were still an athlete. You might be artistic, you might be a painter, you might have all these things that add value to you that sometimes when you're playing a sport, I think you get limited to being defined by what you do when you're on the court, and it like doesn't account for all the other things that you are as a person. So I'll say that, and that was my, silver lining of finishing playing, was realizing how big of a person I was and how colorful and all the things that I'm good at that are valuable. Those things don't feel very valuable when you're still an athlete because you're like, okay, well, I can edit and make really cool videos, but like, I want more playing time, you know? So that's been really cool in exploring all the things I'm good at, and I've gotten to do that, but something Brooke said really made me think about the fact that at the end of the day, you can't idolize anything that's a part of your identity. So if you're an athlete and your worth is being an athlete, then you're gonna have a tumultuous, you know, thing with your identity because it's dependent on this outside thing. And you could stop being an athlete and become something like a content creator or an actress and then place your value on, those things. So as an athlete, I think it's easy to have like performance-based worth, but for me, it's been this journey of not placing my worth on any outside factors because the first year I had a following was really hard because I had even more feedback than I did when I played basketball to, who I was all the time. So for me, it's been a journey of having the knowledge that my worth is the same no matter what I do and no matter who I am at any given day. I'm also religious, so I think that my worth is dependent on a God and not the things that I'm doing or what label I have in that season.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you both for sharing that. And we talk about transition. One thing I realize is we're constantly in transition, right? And so I think the goal for me was to master the art of transition, right? I finished playing football in 2019, so right before the pandemic. So I was transitioning whenever everyone else was transitioning. And what I didn't realize is I wasn't doing enough self-work. And so I think what you're hearing from Lauren and Brooke are like, focusing on you. What does that look like? And so developing a routine. So once I did transition, I was like, okay, like I got to start journaling, right? Like there's a lot of things I want to do. I have a lot of ideas. Let me start journaling. Let me start reading a little bit more and really working on my mental muscle. Because of course, like lifting all the weights, and practicing football and doing all those things, that's good for your physical muscles, but the mental muscle. And so, when it comes to the art of transition, my best suggestion is to really lean into the mental muscle. So like I said, journaling, reading, those are the things that I do every morning. Learning a language, I'm learning a little Mandarin. And so I'm doing those things each day help me fill my cup up. Because a lot of times, as athletes, we empty those cups and we go to do other things, family and friends, we show up with an empty cup. And so for me in the art transition, working on my mental muscles and filling my cup up each day is really important, and doing the things that I want to do before I go and serve others or go hop on the computer and sit down for X amount of hours, right? And then I think last to that is when it comes to mental health, especially for me, the game changer was therapy. Like, I don't know why I wasn't doing it in college. I don't know why I wasn't doing it in high school. I feel like I could be 10 times better, 100 times better if I really focused on my mental health and having a mental coach. Because we've all had trainers, right? You go to the gym, you got somebody that could train you for $20, $30 or whatever, but why not, spend some of those resources and getting couples therapy? And for me, or therapy in general, that was a game changer. And of course, I'm married now. And so, I am also the only child. I have a little half sister, but grew up as the only child. And for me, having a life partner was different as well. And so getting someone to coach me through that was a game changer. And so, I know it's 2025 now, so I think it's not as taboo to speak about it, but I think it's really important for people in general, just to make sure you're working on your mental muscles. especially up at Syracuse. I know it's snowing 8 months out of the year, so having a coach to get you all through is important. But those are kind of my keys to the transition.
Therapy for sure. My friend Jess jokes around and says therapy's the new 6'4".
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, so kind of what's something that surprised you about the working world post-college that you didn't quite expect? I know this is like a very applicable question to everyone here.
I have a recent one. It turns out um, the leadership position a coach fills is pretty similar to a lot of leadership positions. And now working in film, there's a lot of directors that are crazier than a lot of the college coaches we hear about. So it's not about moving around and changing all of your outside circumstances. I think a lot of it is being okay with wherever you're at and adjusting to the circumstances, because you're not always going to have someone in a leadership role that you like. And yeah, I've had some like weird experiences out here where I was like, wait, I thought I was done playing college sports. This is crazy. But I was able to, adapt to it because I've already been coached before. I'm coachable. I know how to work on a team. So that was one thing. I thought that, I'm free now, but I'm still in sometimes like positions where I need to be coachable. So
I can jump in. Normally I like let the ladies go first, but I'll jump in on this one. I think one big thing for me is setting boundaries. I wasn't great at setting boundaries until I got into the workplace. I'm like, oh, like this work stuff doesn't stop. Like that work will, always be there. And so one thing that I realized is to figure out what the priorities, right? Like what's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, like what do I have to do now? What can I do a little bit later today? And what can I do tomorrow? That type of thing. And setting boundaries was huge for me, as it protects my peace. So I think Brooke mentioned it earlier, but like, sometimes you got to go do what you need to do. If you need to go take a 10-minute walk between sitting down all day, go ahead and take that 10-minute walk. If you need to go to the gym at the end of the day and then come back to your work, that's been a real game changer for me. After going to grad school and also working at the same time, I realized like, okay, during this 9 to 5, like I'm going to handle grad school, handle this work stuff, but I need to go back towards the end of the day and handle some of the work. And between that time, I'm doing things that fill my cup up. And so setting those boundaries and doing the things that you like to do are really important. And, I tell my wife this all the time. She started a new role and she's up, we both work remotely and she's upstairs from like 9 to 9. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put this computer down. I'm gonna go to the gym, like I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna get this workout in and I'm gonna come back to it because I know it's gonna fill my cup and I know I can show up for her a bit better when I follow that routine. So set boundaries and do what you like to do, and the work will always be there.
Yeah, that's good. I was actually going to say the same thing, is setting boundaries. I don't know if you guys know what the Enneagram is, but I'm a 2, which is the helper. And I can easily fall into being a people pleaser. And to no surprise, as an athlete who always wanted to appease my coach, and I always wanted to do the right thing, and I always wanted them to be proud of me and happy with me and play me. And so that is something I'm continuously learning. It doesn't go away. And I was laughing when Lauren mentioned that because it's so true. You think when you're done with college athletics that you're done with conflict or craziness, and you're just not. And you'll run into it in a different way, in a different form, with a different face. And at some point, you have to learn how to present yourself. And I think to do that, you have to be very comfortable in your own skin and know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, there's so many practices and exercises you can do to sit down and don't have any screen around you. I know it's so foreign when I'm saying this, I know. For 30 minutes to an hour, work your way up, maybe 15 minutes, then 30, then an hour, and just sit with just yourself and the silence, maybe in nature. Nature is very healing to your body. With like a pen and a journal, and maybe just write out all of the things that you see in yourself, all of the good qualities about yourself, the way that you were created, all of the things that you bring to this world, because you matter. And I think once you kind of get an idea of that, then you're able to be more comfortable when someone is approaching you, you're not internalizing their projections onto you, because you're like, okay, this has nothing to do with me. This is them projecting out their insecurity or their stress, or they're going through some turmoil in their life. This has nothing to do with me. And I think when you're able to have that perspective, it really shifts things for you and it will protect you. I had advice given to me because I'm an empath. And so it's very easy for me to take on the emotions of other people. And I would notice, I'd be in a work meeting, and when I went into the work meeting, I felt light and energetic. And when I left the work meeting, I felt heavy and my shoulders were hurting. And women carry stress in their traps, and their neck. And I would leave being like, why am I so drained? And I realized it's because I was absorbing the emotions of people around me. And so the advice that I received was to envision like a bubble or a shield over you, and nothing gets into me and my internal unless I invite it in. And you can still be an empathetic and compassionate person who helps people and serves people well, without taking on the burdens of so many people, to the point where now it's draining you. So boundaries will always and forever be the thing that I'm working on, probably till the day I die. And I know it's easier for some people. It's so tough for someone like me who just wants to help and serve people, but it's just so true. And people will be able to see that in you, and they will take advantage of it. And it's a beautiful thing if you have that. Don't lose it. It's a gift that God gave you. But knowing how to use it, so that it doesn't turn into a curse, is something that I'm still navigating as well. And I'm almost 30.
You guys have spoken a bunch about kind of mentorship, whether it's talking to somebody else like a therapist, or whether, in the case of Brooke, mentoring younger, students and children in basketball. Who have been kind of your mentors, whether it's a coach or somebody on or off the field that you've looked to? And then how do you try to, like, in a way, pay it forward to, the next generation of athletes and really people?
I'll go. So something I've come to understand is you don't need everyone to believe in you. It usually is just one person that kind of sees the type of person you are, which is a good testament to that you should always show up exactly as yourself, because people will recognize it even when you don't think anyone is watching you. I say that because there's one person that really changed a lot in my life and a couple since then. One of them, the first one, when I moved out here, I was coming here with a production company. I was just gonna hustle, be able to pay my rent. And there was this NFL trainer who did speed stuff, and he needed someone to film and do creative stuff for his business. His business has exploded since then, but at the time I was like a nobody. Like I was just out there to, get some work. And he just recognized my hustle because I was driving to San Diego to his workouts every day at like 5 a.m. and then shooting all day and then editing everything and coming back the next day. So he saw that in me and told me I could work as much as I wanted to, to be able to pay my bills, just do whatever worked for him. So he recognized that. And then to this day, he's seen my entire life change. So he's very proud of me and he's a good mentor. And his name is Luz Spellman. Then another one, which is another testament to just kind of being yourself, is I was in a acting class sometime recently, and we had some like starter questions, and I was answering authentically just like you normally would, not knowing anyone was listening, but there was a producer in the class, and after the class he called my acting coach and set up a meeting with me because he liked some of the things I was talking about. And now he's one of my mentors in production and writing, but it's less about the experience that I had that could prove that I was good at A, B, C, or D, but he saw like the grit and the type of person I was and wanted to work with me. And because of that, he fully believes in me and my dreams because of my work ethic. And he's been able to introduce me to bigger and bigger people because of those ways that I was just showing up in my everyday life. So
That's good. That's good, Martin. There are so many people that I could speak on, and there's two that come to mind, so I'll just highlight them for now. One is Carlos Ratliff. He trained me in basketball from age 10 on up, and he is the most encouraging, godliest man in my life. And literally since I was 10 years old, he just saw something in me, and he has this gift. And I learned how I learned the way I coach and the way that I relate to teammates, I learned from him. He has this gift of seeing the good in people, and they may not even realize that they have this skill, but he sees it before they do, and he tells them straight up. And he brings that out in them. And I was able to take that and use it as my own as a teammate, and then as a coach or a trainer. And now in my job, I'm an internship coordinator as well. So I'm like in charge of hiring interns and mentoring interns, which by the way, we're hiring. So if you're into communications and PR, send me your resume. But watching him pour into me, and every single time that I trained with him, every time I left, I felt like I was on top of the world. I felt like I was the greatest basketball player of all time. All of like, and it wasn't just because of what he was saying. He was such an amazing, yes, we're hiring. I saw your comment. He was such an amazing teacher as well. And he's the reason why I was such a great shooter. And he's the reason why I played with such confidence. He was so detail oriented. He knew basketball so well. I really got my basketball IQ from Coach Ratliff. And then I was able to know how to teach other people. And now I know how to teach young girls how to shoot properly. And you know, when you make a three, do a little dance and have a little confidence, and don't shy away from that. I know maybe not so much anymore, but when I was growing up, it was very frowned upon for a girl to celebrate and be a little cocky. And I teach my girls, like, after we're going to do this 3-point drill, and after you make your three, you're going to do whatever dance move comes to mind. Um, and it's uncomfortable for them because they're not used to being confident and so sure of themselves. And something else that I learned from him was to always, you know, if you receive a pass and you score, always point at the person who gave you the assist. And he was very big on touch, always high-fiving, always being vocal. And so I carried that with me all the way through my playing days. The other person that comes to mind is my mom. And I saw her this morning, and she was like, "What's the Zoom link for your speaking piano? I like, how do I?" And I was like, "It's okay, Mom. You can watch it on YouTube later." I wouldn't be surprised if she's trying to literally listen in right now outside the door. But she is just she embodies everything that I want to be, as a wife and a mom and a friend. And she's the most beautiful person that I know inside and out, and believes in me like no one believes in me. I mean, literally, I could do the most minor thing ever, and it will be on her Facebook in 5 minutes. And all 250 of her friends will be commenting, "Wow, your daughter's so amazing," and loving the photo and liking the video or whatever. That's just who she is for me, and it means so much to me because I haven't always had that around me. It's easy for people to be in your corner when you're successful or when you win or whatever. But when things aren't going for you, oftentimes I have seen so many people not be there in my corner. And my mom always was. She never lost that belief in me. And that's always meant so much to me that I have that type of relationship with her.
That's amazing. Hey, it's kind of hard to follow up with Brooke. I'm not gonna lie. That was amazing. One person, a couple people that pop into mind, and when you think about like the mentorship space, the mentee space, what does that look like? I look at it more as counsel. Who do I bring in as counsel? And it's really important to choose wisely. Who is on your bus, who's not on your bus. Someone who's always on my bus is my pops. You know what I mean? Like Brooke mentioned, someone who's always rooting for you, who's always calling you, blowing your phone up, sending you Instagram gifts. Hey, learn this, look at that. And so shout out to pops on that one. Another person too, Andre Sims Sr., his pops, when it came to our high school days and what it took to win a state championship. He was someone that really guided us. And I'm not going to even look past someone who's older than you or younger than you. I'm looking at my peers. So even Andre, when it comes to I learn a lot from him. He learns a lot from me. And I think at the end of the day, being curious, always wanting to learn and teach is important. And then, for me, paying it forward is important as well. So playing the sport of football, of course, come across young folks who want to learn about the game, what that looks like. And yesterday, I actually was talking to a mentee. He said, man, I finished my first book. I'm always talking about, how to grow mentally. What does that look like? He's like, I finished my first book. And he shared it with me, which I was very grateful for, because a lot of times when you have like a mentor or a mentee, a lot of times you want to take rather than give. And so it was really helpful for me to see that, okay, he finished his first book and he sent the link to me. So now when I'm speaking to my mentors, whether it be at work or whatever, I want to actually provide some value to them. I want to give to them. And so, I think it's important, like I said, to pick your mentors and your mentees properly, who's on your bus and who's helping you drive it. But then also being in a servant leader mindset where you're giving more than you're taking. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for my mentors and mentees, and hopefully I can gain more from this call as well, right? Learn from what you all are doing and also bring value and serve as well. So.
Real quick follow-up, Brooke, you mentioned that you're kind of in hiring / you do some interviewing with people.
Mhm.
That's something that I'm sure applies to a lot of recent graduates who are going through different job searches. What are the biggest green and red flags of
Okay.
people when they step in for an interview or when they're putting their
I love
you
that.
see a lot of these things, so I always like to get that
Yeah.
perspective. And also before that, if anybody from the audience has questions that they want to specifically ask, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to as many as we can here.
Yeah,
Coming home.
I love that. Yes. Well, some green flags, very well prepared. Um, and what I love too is when they've clearly done their research on our company. Sounds vain, but it's not. I mean, that's what athletes do, right? I mean, we're very detail oriented. We want to know everything that we're about to get ourselves into, because you're not just seeking us to hire you, you're trying to see if we're a good fit for you too. So if you come to our website and you see the clients we work with, or a lot of the clients that we represent are nonprofits, and you don't want to do nonprofits, you want to work in entertainment, then we're probably not the firm for you. So definitely when you're well prepared. I love when they have questions for me. They seem really eager and interested, and just willing to learn as well. I think that, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to say anything negative about younger generations. I'm barely older than Gen Z. But I think a lot of times, newly graduates can kind of feel entitled to a job. That's just, that's my opinion. I could be wrong here. But I love when someone comes in just like a sponge, like just willing to soak up any information and learn, and not coming in thinking they have all the answers, because none of us do. So don't come in acting like you do, because we can see, like, we can tell when you don't know what you're talking about. So just don't come off that way. Just come off in truth, and ask questions. Red flags would be talking negatively about like a past internship or past experience. Not to say you have to lie and be like, wow, that was the most amazing people and most amazing experience I ever had. Don't speak out of line. But I just mean like details that I'm really not interested in. that you did not like, you can keep it at, yeah, I'm just looking for something different. We know what that means, you know. You don't have to go into all the details of all the things that you hated about your previous role or whatever. And another great thing to do is a follow-up email of just like a thank you note, um, just showing that you have interest and are grateful for the opportunity. But yeah, I love working with interns. I meet with them to talk about the week and PR, but I also always slip in some life advice too, and I care about them as people. So I would love to have a Syracuse student or grad join me, because Syracuse is very impressive, especially in the comms world. So if you are a comms student and you're interested, I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. Um, and kind of before we open up to questions that for everyone here, um, what is kind of a motto or phrase that you live by in life?
I think I'm going to take this one. Um, Mine has always been live loved. And what that means is no matter what you go through, live as if you've always been loved to the fullest, even if you really haven't been treated that well. Um, there are people in my life when they meet me, um, and then they get to know a little bit of my story, and they don't even know the full story. They're like, Brooke, I would have never have known you're going through this. I would have never have known you're walking through that or that you went through this, because I live my life as if I've never been hurt. Um, and it's not to say like pretend it didn't happen or, suppress your feelings and move forward. It's just it's made me a better person. It's matured me. It's brought me more compassion and empathy for people. It's made me more understanding of everyone's experiences in the world because we're all walking through something. And it's made me very intentional of, I don't want to have a wound from someone else and then project that and make a wound for someone else too. I want that to stop with me. And I want to use that to learn and maybe pray for the person who harmed me or hurt me or whatever, which is really hard to do, and pray that I have understanding or peace or whatever the Lord wants me to learn from that, and then use it. And instead of making it having that experience make me bitter or jaded, um, it allows me to relate to so many more people, and it expands my ministry so much more because I can relate to so many more people if I hadn't have gone through that experience. And now I know how to like help other women walk through things and advocate that they speak up for themselves and have their voice. And so that's really important to me, to live loved and to spread that love. And so if you ever have an encounter with me, I want you to leave feeling like Coach Ratliff made me feel, like, wow, not only do I feel amazing, but I feel like I am amazing. And I feel like I have purpose in this world. And now I can go and spread that to other people. And it's just a different ripple effect. You have a choice of being medicine or poison in this world. Do you want to be someone who spews poison and harms and hurt people and makes them question their worth, um, you know, or do you want to be medicine that heals people, and maybe they've been hurt and now they know how to use their hurt and their mess to make it their message. And so I always strive and want to be that medicine for people so that they live in healing, um, instead of in their wounds.
Okay, I can go. As always, Brooke just blew us away. I'm like trying to think of, I have a couple. I'll keep the first one short because it's pretty similar to Brooke's. And it's that your value in life is more about what you can use in your overflow to help other people and less about what you've done for yourself. And I think that's a testament to, if your glass is all the way full, it means you have all of this to work with to like help and serve other people. And I think having a mindset of service has fueled like my entire success after college. I'll keep that one brief. But the other one that I really have stayed true with is everything you need is already within you. I think we all have gifts to do specific things that could look like a lot of things, and a lot of times we take years to really visit them all the way or get to do them. But I think leaning into those and then knowing that the plan will figure itself out as you go, you just have to go towards the things that you want to do because you already have everything you need in being yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll finish this off here. I know we're coming up on time. And with this, I'll also address some of the questions that were in the chat from Whisper and Andre. I appreciate that. Talking about relationships and how athletes should vet those. And Whisper said, advice for younger college self. I would say my motto is treat people well, because you never know when it's going to pay off or when it's going to cause you some debt. And a reason why I say that is, for myself, for an example, like I'm looking in the chat here. When I got on the chat, I got a private message from Jack, Woltman, and he said, "Hey, by any chance, did you internship at Lee Baldwin in Cas? It was a financial firm." He's like, "Hey, did you intern there?" Because my dad said he works at the firm, and like, so you just never know who you're going to run into. You never know where those relationships, like Brooke mentioned, like, are you providing, are you providing value to someone, or are you pulling away from it? Sometimes we have conversations with people. Sometimes you feel like energized and hydrated. You feel like you had some medicine. Some people you feel dehydrated with, or feel like you've been poisoned. And so are you providing that hydration to people? Are you giving them your best? Are you treating them well? I think that's really important. And I'll take that a step further. I think the reason why that I made it in sport, going to Whisper's question is, I made it in sport because there was a janitor that was at Syracuse. She would come in at like 6 a.m. to clean up. And so I would go in and work out and do my thing, and I would always hold the door open for her. And so she would always go to clean. No one was in there, but she would have a Boston College shirt on. I'm like, wait a minute, that's our rival. Like, why do you have a Boston College shirt on at Syracuse? And I started to find out. She told me, like, yeah, my son, his name is Jolan Dunbar. He played at Boston College, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, I go to the St. Louis Rams. Next thing you know, I'm playing alongside Jolan Dunbar. And he's like, yo, like, when you're a rookie, like, you got to catch the bus back to the hotel, X, Y, and Z. And Jolan's like, no, we're gonna watch a little extra film, and I'm gonna drive you back myself, because my mom told me back when we were at Syracuse, like, you opened the door for her, you treated her really well. And so I always go by that model because it paid off for me. And so you never know who you're gonna run into. You never know, where your last impression is going to show up. And so treat people well. And then my final one is let go and let God, because a lot of times we have plans, we want to do things. I want things to happen my way, but we're just really here to manage God's time. And I don't want to, be too preachy, but at the end of the day, we can really control what we can control. And that's how we treat people, I think. And we just got to give up control a lot of time and let things happen. So those are my two mottos.
That's so true. I want to say one more thing with what Cameron just said. Whatever you put into the world, you will get back 100 times over to you, whether it's karma or blessings. And I don't know if I believe in karma, but that's just the word that came to mind. Okay. But it's so true. And so, Lauren's the ultimate influencer. Okay. I don't have 2 million followers. Like, Lauren, you're so cool. But you are an influence to anyone around you. You are. And the aura that you carry to people, whether you're in a grocery store, and when you smile at someone, they probably smile back. When you wave and say hi, they probably wave and say hi back. If you walk around scowling, you're not going to get smiles and waves. Okay. So whatever you put into the world, you will get back 100 times over. And if you feel like, I'm being faithful, I'm being disciplined, I don't understand why I'm going through these trials. Just wait. Just wait. Be patient. Don't grow weary in doing good. Galatians 6:9, chapter 6, verse 9. Do not grow weary in doing good, because you will be blessed for your faithfulness.
I want to bookend what Brooke just said and Cameron, because I feel like I worked my entire life playing basketball, being a basketball player. And when I was in college, like Brooke said, I feel like I was putting in as much work as humanly possible. I just really, really wanted, my goals to come true. And when it came close to graduating, I was like, what was the point? Like, I didn't get to do the things with basketball that I wanted to while I was in college, and it just felt like I did a lot for nothing. And then come to find out, like a month after graduating, my entire life changed in like a big explosion of like blessings. And you can't tell me that's not a result of all of the input that I put into it. So to what Brooke said, you'll never know what it's gonna look like, but know that putting in work with integrity, it will come back to you. I don't know if someone's, but yeah.
No, I think that's about it. We're about out of time here. So if any of you have any quick parting thoughts, to share with the crew, kind of like a parting message, that's fine. I'll give you guys a second to think about if you have anything else you want to say or something you really wanted to get off your chest. But if not, I'm going to wrap this.
Yeah. If anyone has questions or wants to talk, I love to get to know people. So you can reach out on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Brooke McGriff, McGriff. And my message to everyone would just be to keep going. We're all in different phases and stages of life. I'm in a stage of life right now where sometimes it's really hard to get out of bed. And there's times where I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And maybe that's you today, and maybe it's Friday and it's a great day for you. Wherever you're at, just know that you matter, and your words and your presence and your actions, they all matter. And don't forget that you do have loved ones and family and friends who would be devastated if they did not have you. And so just keep going, keep being fruitful, and stay the course. And like Lauren said, maybe you go through 4 years of just like, I don't understand why I'm still working this hard. I never saw Lauren ever waver. She stayed obedient. She stayed faithful. And now she's like more successful than me and all my teammates. So stay the course, and yeah.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Special shout out to Cameron, Brooke, and Lauren for being so great and joining us here. And thank you to everybody who helped put this event on, from Megan to Chris, to Monica Grace, to Whisper, for bringing us such great guests. We are the Generation Orange Leadership Council. If anybody's interested in joining the council, applications are open. We're always looking for new members. You get to interview with us, and we have a lot of fun. We're all going to be going up to campus next month for alumni awards. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you, everybody, again, for joining us and making this a really informative and interesting hour of your Friday.